Ciao, ciao, dosto. Welcome to the last video of 2024 from my desk to all of you. इस वीडियो में हम बात करने वाले हैं about Milan's draw with Roma, Paulo Dybala scoring a golazzo, and of course the potential departures of Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma from. अरे sorry, ये this is not that video. Potential departures of Lorenzo Pellegrini and Bryan Cristante from Roma. वो एक अलग ही वीडियो, उसके ऊपर एक अलग वीडियो बनाएंगे. विषय ही अलग है, स्पोर्ट ही अलग है. बट without any further ado, let's start the video. अगर आप मेरे चैनल में नए हो तो let me just introduce myself to all of you. My name is Ajay Menon. I am a content creator from Mumbai, India, supporting Roma for over the last 20 years. I create content around Italian football, world sport, cricket, and all of that. So if you're brand new, like the video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, and let's start the video.
Roma, 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 cuore d'esta città.
सो भाई एकदम नॉस्टैल्जिया वाला फील आया. ऐसा लग रहा था कि मैं अपने कॉलेज दिनों में वापस जा चुका हूं, क्योंकि हम ये वीकेंड ऑफ सेरिया आई थिंक जो भी देख रहे थे अक्रॉस इंडिया, वी वर वाचिंग इट ऑन some other platforms with Arabic commentary and stuff like that. So it really felt like it was a trip down memory lane. But nevertheless, game की तरफ आते हैं very quickly. Milan really started well. Tijani Reinders scoring the opener for Milan, and he's probably been the standout player of the season for Milan. And उसके बाद में you saw a Roma response, a lovely flick by Dobbik and Dybala scoring with his right foot. End this utterwoke nonsense, but a right-footed volley from Paulo Dybala getting Roma back on level terms. Dobbik had a good chance to score as well. He hit the post from, I don't know, man, from a range where you actually should have scored. It was easier to score than miss, but that's how it's been. In a game that was quite seesawy towards the end, I think there were phases where Milan dominated. There were phases where Roma, kind of came on, especially in the last 20 minutes. It looked like Roma would find a winner, but I think eventually the teams settled for a draw, and probably a fair result on the night. I told this on one of the streams earlier as well with Rohit, who's a Milan fan, that if you give me a point at a San Siro right now, I'll take it and run, because for Roma, the trouble season that has been, it's at least a step in the right direction, यार, क्योंकि आप देख रहे हैं कि 2024 में Roma have not won an away game, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe just a 1 or 2 away game wins were there, but this season mein to we've not won an away game, and it's been a while since actually we put on a good performance away, and this is even at the so-called smaller provincial clubs, or even the so-called smaller clubs in Europe. It's been a very difficult year for Roma, and I'm glad that it's over, because the new year brings in a lot of new hope, and the fixture that's going to start 2025 for Roma is the Derby della Capitale between Roma and Lazio. And obviously, we'll be doing a super preview for that. So stay tuned. And also subscribe to Calcio Charcha, जहाँ पे हम लोग ने एक Christmas podcast and New Year podcast हमने record किया था. उसमें भी content आता रहेगा with regards to Roma Lazio as well. So दोनों channel को आप tune in करके रखना, क्योंकि Roma Lazio content is coming for next week. But just to cap off the match, I think this was a vintage Paulo Dybala performance. He really worked his socks off, and it took him to I would say legendary status, because he's the third most highest scoring Argentinian now in Serie A of all time. So definitely Paulo Dybala, legend of the league, legend of the game. And I'm happy that he, put a performance that was a vintage La Joya performance. And as a football fan, you love to see this. And of course, if you're a Paulo Dybala fan, this brings back so many memories. So point on the road for Roma, finally sneaking into the top 10. Long way to go, but I can say that it's upwards and onwards from here, irrespective of what happens in the derby, which comes in 1 week's time. But let's get to the second part of the video, where we'll be talking about the potential departures of Lorenzo Pellegrini and Bryan Cristante from Roma. So this has been an issue, right, for some time, that Lorenzo Pellegrini has not been performing at his best. for Roma or for the Italian national team. And I'm a big fan of the guy because he's, you know, a local Romanista. He's come through the ranks, you know, from the Roma Primavera, and of course he had a health issue, you know, when he was a teenager, heart issue, but the doctors gave him the clean sheet, overcame that, and became the professional footballer that he is today. And uska, obviously he spent some time away at Sassuolo on loan developing, and probably one of the few talents that Roma could, you know, bring back. Otherwise, aap dekhoge the likes of Politano, Scamacca, Calafiori, they've all gone away, you know, despite being, you know, so good for the Roma youth teams, and most of them, you know, supporting Roma as a child. They've gone away, but Lolo Pellegrini came back, and of course, he was kind of meant to fill in the boots from Alessandro Florenzi, another Roma product, but things went sour and he got the responsibility, Pellegrini that has got the responsibility of being the Roma captain at a young age. And of course, he was the captain who lifted the Europa Conference League and took us to the final of the Europa League as well, another trophy that he should have lifted. But Pellegrini, of course, divides the Roma fan base, and I'm generally on the fence on this one, because up tak I was, you know, on Lolo Pellegrini's side, because the kid has got a lot of weight around his shoulders. You have to understand it's not easy being a Roma captain, you know, because there's so much of pressure, there's so much of media glare. There are, you know, you can have like 10 good performances, but a couple of bad performances, and you know, there are a few sections of fans were on to you. तो पेलेग्रिनी को पता है कि ये रोल एक पॉइजन चैलेंज जैसा है, you know, है अमृत उसके अंदर, लेकिन पॉइजन का भी चांस है उसमें. So it's a very tricky situation for me, and the rumors are that the likes of Napoli, Inter are already circling around him, which obviously means that he is a talented player, because ये सारे clubs का talent ID and scouting systems are quite good. So the way that I look at it, I really think that for Pellegrini, the player, a move away from this environment of Rome would actually do him good. He'll actually probably say, if he goes hypothetically to the likes of Conte at Napoli, I think he's a very, very Conte-like player. I mean, you know, he will fit in, slot in, he'll give him that confidence and boost and probably revive his career, which has been stagnating for a while. And obviously, this is so going to happen that he's going to come back to Rome, score a goal against Roma del Olimpico. This is a script that we all know that's going to happen. तो ये तो होने ही वाला है. मैंने accept कर लिया अभी इतने 20 सालों में. तो ये तो होने ही वाला है. And I think just for the guy, just for the player, I would really like him to get that rejuvenation, get that joy back of playing, and rediscover his form and touch that made him a very, very special player, you know, for Roma. And Bryan Cristante, I think, देखो, हम लोग काफी ब्रायन क्रिस्टांटे को ट्रोल करते हैं, ये करते हैं, बट you have to give it to the lad that he has been one of the most consistent players for Roma over the last 5 years. He's barely missed a game due to injury. He's always been there, puts in those performances. Probably, you know, he does have his off days more than his on days, but he's there. And that's very important. I mean, I'll just give an example of Gini Wijnaldum, who was signed on loan from PSG. Gini Wijnaldum was signed because he did not miss a single game when he was at Liverpool. He had a lot of minutes under his belt, and that's something that at Roma is a huge problem, because the club is, you know, probably cursed with an injury record that's so bad, a lot of ACLs and, you know, a lot of muscle injuries here or there. So the continuity that you need in the midfield, Bryan Cristante gave that. But unfortunately, with father time passing, Cristante's performances have not been that great. I remember the game against Inter at home. Aap dekhoge the amount of times he gave the ball away, unforced errors. It was just appalling. You know that at the big stage, if Roma are serious to make it into the top 4, you probably don't need a player like Cristante, you know, in your team. Having said that, though, he is actually now injured. I think after a while, he's had a very lengthy layoff. So he's been on the treatment table, and Roma have not missed him at all. The likes of Manu Kone, Pisilli, Paredes have really stepped up under Claudio Ranieri, and Cristante's presence, I think, for a change, is never missed. And like I said, probably a move for him will also help to resurrect his career, just like Lorenzo Pellegrini. So ये दोनों प्लेयर्स है हमारे जो एक क्रॉस रोड्स में आ चुके हैं, एंड आई वुडंट बी सरप्राइज इफ बोथ ऑफ देम लीव इन जनवरी. एज फार एज Paulo Dybala goes, man, I mean, I probably thought he might leave for Turkey, but just looking at his performances, man, what a guy, man. I mean, agar thoda half fit Dybala bhi hai, the amount of difference he makes for Roma is just beyond compare. Anyways, that is it for this video. ये last video था साल का. अगर आप यहाँ तक आए हो तो much love to all of you. Thank you so much for all the love, support, all the comments. Let me also share that I've opened up memberships. This is just to support the channel. अगर आप कर सकते तो well and good. It'll just help me to speed up my content and kind of be more consistent in putting out videos for you guys. There is a history of Roma video which you guys have requested, जो मैं 2025 में करूंगा. There are some ideas that I'm working on, and once that's done, I'll definitely put that video out for you all, giving you the entire history of how AS Roma came into formation. That's it for this video, guys. Once again, wish you a very happy New Year. आपके New Year के क्या plans है मुझे बताइए comments में. I'll reply to that as well. And until next time in 2025, it's ciao ciao for one last time in 2024 from me. Forza Roma, sempre.
Saklak, kalak, kalak, kabum, bum, kari.